Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Sadly, you've probably seen the news today about Israel being attacked and the devastation that has been occurring in their country. Israel says it is at war with Hamas after the surprise attack. Israel vows mighty vengeance after the deadliest day for 50 years. Netanyahu says Israel is at war after hundreds die in these attacks. It's so concerning. The first thing I always think of when I hear of war in the Middle East is from the Bible in Matthew. We hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nations rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. I take this as a big wake-up call to preppers that we want to absolutely make sure that we have the things that we need. We don't know what could happen tomorrow, just like these people in Israel didn't realize they could be bombed on one of their holiest days. No one ever knows what's coming, and so you need to be prepared. It could be your last day on earth, but no one knows. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that we have the things we need so our families don't suffer. We want to make sure that we have the supplies. We know there are already so many challenges, and more challenges are ahead. There's supply chain issues, product inventories are down. We don't even know if we might have to survive some sort of a nuclear event. People continue to be concerned with the threat of nuclear accidents, even nuclear war. So maybe you want to get some Iosat tablets, or if you have them, they don't last forever. Check the date on them and see if you need some new ones. Iosat tablets are potassium iodide, and it's a thyroid blocking filler, so that if you are exposed to some nuclear fallout, it collects in your thyroid gland. And so if you take the Iosat when you have been exposed, then it fills your thyroid, so then it can't absorb the radiation. If you are ever have been exposed, is the only time that you would use this. You would take one tablet a day for 14 days, and you never take it just in case. You take it if you've been exposed, and not in case there might be a threat. It's only once you've been exposed. So if you're concerned with a radiation emergency, look for potassium iodide. Another supplement that people have used after they've been exposed to radiation is apple pectin. When they had the Chernobyl accident in Russia many years ago, then they were giving the pectin to the little children. And pectin is actually like apple skins, and it's what things that make things gel. And so what it does is they found over time that they gave the kids the pectin, it absorbed the radiation in the body, and then it was excreted in the feces and urine. But you want to read carefully on the label to see what would be the dose. And once again, this isn't something that you need to use on a daily basis. It's only if you've been exposed. Study over these types of ingredients before you use them, and perhaps speak with your medical health care professional in case you have further questions. Because I'm not a doctor, I'm just a prepper. And so these are items that I have, and you may want to have them too, but you need to make your own informed decisions. Next, let's think about our pets. Make sure you have extra pet food, treats, snacks, whatever you rely on that you feed your animals. They count on us to take care of their needs. They give us love. We give them food, water, love, and care. So make sure that you have extra cat food, dog food, treats, kitty litter, any supplies that you need to help take care of your pets. Then as preppers, we also want to be stockpiling the life-sustaining foods, the longest-lasting foods. They're easy to pick up in a small bag, in a big bag. You can put them into a jar, stuff them into a bucket, seal them in a Mylar bag, and you want to get foods like beans and rice, lentils, pasta. These foods are life-sustaining. They can last for many, many years, but you need to store them in an airtight container. It can be as simple as a pasta sauce jar that you've cleaned yourself, let it dry well, and then you can store your food in there. But make sure that you're stocking up on the longest lasting foods. I don't think we're ever going to run out completely of food, but if we can't get as much as we want, or we can't afford it, we don't have as much variety, we can prepare some of these basic foods and then help that extend the other food that we have in our pantry. We can grow in our garden. We can forage for other foods. That gives us the opportunity to make bigger, better meals, stretch the foods we have with these filler type foods that can last for many, many years. Then if you can't just store beans and rice and pasta and oatmeal, things like that, you should also be using some of them so that you understand how to prepare them, how to use them. So occasionally make meals using especially your dried beans, because that can be a learning curve to see how much water it takes to make those foods and how long it takes. Then you need preparation time. Maybe you need your crock pot. You need to put them on the stove for hours at a time. They need a long time to cook. So be aware of that and make sure that you're also stockpiling water so that you'll be able to cook these long-term dried foods. Next, we want to make a meal plan. You can plan your meals for, say, a week. Then when you go to the store, buy doubles of those foods so that you have a 2-week supply. Then you can use 1 whole week's worth of food and store the other one in your prepper pantry. Then the next time you go to the store, do it again. Plan for 1 week and buy enough food for 2 weeks. And if that seems like it's too much money, you can't afford it, at least when you pick up one item for this week, buy one extra one so you can put it away. That if you do that every time you go to the store, after a year of going to the store, you'll have a huge supply of extra food that you can make meals for your family. I always figure every extra can of food that I have is another meal I can have in the future. You also want to make sure that you're making a variety of those foods. Don't just add a can of chili every week or a bag of dried beans every week, because then if really times become hard, you don't have any variety, and then what are you going to do? You want to have a variety of foods. Get something like chili 1 week, cereal the next week, pasta sauce, a can of soup. Make sure that you have a variety of all of the foods that you would want for breakfast, lunch, and dinner so that you have easy to prepare meals that you can make for your family. It doesn't have to be complicated to add to food storage. You just need a few little strategies. And make sure that you're only buying foods that you enjoy eating. Don't buy foods simply because they're cheap if you don't like them. You don't want to go to your pantry one day and the only thing you have left to eat is something that you don't like. Why wouldn't you put in foods that you do like? That's what I try to do. I know I have foods that aren't my favorites because they're favorites of other people in my family, and I try to make sure that I have varieties of foods that everyone would enjoy. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I have food that I want to eat too. Keep your car gas tank full. Don't let it go below a half. Have some cash on hand, get some small bills. So then if something happens that the power stops running and you need to get something at the gas station or the grocery store, if the computers aren't working, they can still take cash a lot of times, and you don't want to give them a 20. If something costs $2, they're not going to have change. But if you can peel off some 1s, 5s, 10s, have that extra cash on hand. It can be really critical to have in an emergency situation. Prepare now while we have time. We know that things are becoming more dangerous, more hardships on all of us, but we have that warning that we know we need to prepare. So make it a plan to have the things that you need, that you can stay in your home if you need to, but also have a bug out bag so if you need to evacuate from a hurricane, a tornado, a forest fire, or a power outage with an ice storm when your power might be out for 2 weeks. You have then an emergency bag you can grab and go and have several days worth of supplies in your emergency bag. We have the warning to prepare, we have the knowledge how to prepare, so let's put that into action and make sure that we're ready to face things that are going to come to us no matter where we live or who we are. We're going to have challenges ahead. I hope you'll like my video, share my video, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.